shield that blocks everything. Then we just keeps going. It's the fucking, like, spear and sword debate. D&D says, fuck that. Here's how it works. There's nothing you can't attack, nothing you can't block. Okay? It basically just, like, puts that kid in its place. So, how do I play? Good question. We'll get there, but first we need 2 roles in D&D. I'm gonna be using acronyms here. DM, the Dungeon Master. It's not a sex thing, I promise. At Dungeon Master, because it's Dungeons and Dragons, I have to clarify. We'll also see it as GM sometimes, Game Master. But DM is basically just the person talking. If you watch like Critical Role or something, Matt Moss is the DM. He's the one that describes the scene, describes what everyone can do, and describes everything else. To the players. You! The person who is interacting with this scene, and in general, rolling most of the ability checks. For instance, tell me the game for champ thanks me, I will. But yeah, in general, it's easier if I give an example. So, it's a dark and dreary night, the moon rising on the horizon of the clouds. Sorry for in. Visibility is low, but thanks to your group's dark sight, you can see fine. You don't know the full details of why you're in this cemetery, you just have a feeling. A primordial urge that you have to be here no matter what. You were sent here, you know that. But you walk deeper and deeper into the cemetery and see the Crypt Keeper's house. You reach for the doorknob. The second you do, you hear mumbling from behind you. Mumbling from behind you. The Mii skeletons crawl out of their graves. A roll initiative. And someone goes like, I tried to fuck the skeleton! Roll persuasion. Stuff like that. So I describe the scene, you describe what you do. That was actually a bad example because I described way too. I assumed you did way too much than what you actually did, but well, it's up to the DM, honestly. Yeah, dice. I know I did not say anything about dice, me. Yes, I did, probably. No, I didn't. Anyway, so if you're wondering, but Caine, if there's 2 obnoxious children going, but I have the sword that cuts through everything and I have the shield that blocks everything, how do we determine who does what? Dice. You use dice. There's 5 main types of dice. First 3 dice notations with NDX, X spaces, and number of dice, 2d20, you roll 2 20-sided dice. D6 is Monopoly die, for instance. What we commonly know as regular dice. D4s are like triangles. I was gonna have an entire section devoted here just explaining dice, but that's too long. But D20s, you basically go to your roll courses. If you need to roll something, you do D20s. You need that to hit. I'll explain combat rate as well, so don't sweat it if it's a lot at first. It gets easier the farther we get in. But that notation is read this way, NDX. So if you hear me say shit like, yeah, you need to roll 2d20, take the lowest, that's disadvantage. Hear me say you roll 4d6 you deal 4d6 fire damage, you roll 4 6-sided dice. It's that simple. It's not that complicated, it just sounds funny to anyone who doesn't actually know it. So, common dice sums as well that I tend to use. There's more out there, I'm pretty sure. But advantage, you roll 2 dice, you take the highest. Disadvantage, roll 2 die, you take the lowest. You have both advantage and disadvantage, it just cancels out. Dirty Blank, a number obtained after modifiers applied. Basically just good and dirty 20, that means you have like an 18 with a +2 modifier. And a natural blank. Number obtained before modifiers, either a nat 1 or a nat 20. Nat 20s got critical successes, nat 1s like critical failures. Modifiers usually do not mean anything here, and it's important to have this distinction just so we're not like confusing people when I say I got a 20. Like, okay, nat 20? No, dirty 20. Okay. Also, technically, you can have naturals and dirties of any number. You have a dirty 1, for instance, if you have like a -2 to your modifier. But like, it really comes up to choosing upside of like a 20 or a 1. Like, no one's saying, like, I nat 13. It's like, okay, that doesn't mean anything, but go for it. But yeah, combat. So, despite the fact it's so common, it's surprisingly complicated. This is where a lot of people kind of like mess up, but it's also where D&D gets the most involved. So, turn order is determined by initiative. Unless you have something that states otherwise, it's always going to be a d20 plus your dexterity modifier. That's what that like initiative box means on the character sheet, by the way. That's really just your dexterity mod, unless you have a class feature that specifies otherwise. So, for instance, like assassins, like assassin rogues, they get like, or they can add like I think proficiency to their like d20 roll, the initiative roll as well. So like you get like a plus 12 in some cases. It's obscene. But yeah, so enemies, depending on how the DM's feeling, they either use the same initiative roll for all of them, or they use separate initiative rolls. I personally go with using the same, just because it's less of a headache to track. So there's like 5 players, they all have different initiatives. Like a 20, a 17, a 15, a 10, and an 8. And I have like 3 enemies. I'm just gonna use one more amongst all of them. You work top down as well, and sometimes you can use multiple. And sometimes you get multiple initiatives. It's complicated. I'll explain a bit more detail in a hot minute for like the Q&A section, like miscellaneous stuff. But yeah, players can make 3 actions at any turns. They can move, they can act, and they can do bonus actions. They also have 3 actions, but I'll get into that later. But those are the main 3 things they can do. I will go on all of these later, and the special actions that they can't actively go out of their way to do, and that applies to reactions and rare actions. I'm not gonna talk about rare actions, because that mostly applies like strong boss enemies, and like environmental hazards. I'll talk about that stuff later if I like feel like it. Let's just put a pin in that. But yeah, movement. The basics of how you get around. So you can either go towards or away an enemy. You have about 30 feet of movement at any given moment during combat, unless like modifiers point otherwise. Yeah. Fuck. Get back here. So yeah, technically speaking, that's the dash action, but like we'll get to that later as well. So how you get around? There's 3 types of movement at any given moment. But normal speed, basically just like how you get around on foot in like an arena. Climbing speed, you can guess. Swimming speed, you can also guess. So unless you get like special abilities, specify otherwise, these are just half your normal speed. So if you see me, yeah. This is where a lot of people get confused sometimes, because they think like, oh man, how do I find my swimming speed? And like, you just swim half your normal walking speed. How do I know if I can climb this mountain and climb this wall? Is it less than 15 feet? You can climb it. Because that's an athletics check to actually climb it. But like, I'll talk about all of that stuff later when I'm going to actually get to building a mock character after this. We're gonna be building like a mock character sheet as well after all is said and done, just so like we get an idea of how everything works. So coming speed and swimming speed is having no speed. There's also 2 special movement types as well. Flying speed and burrowing speed, or digging speed. You're not going to have access to digging speed most of the time. This applies to like enemies like fucking worms. Basically creatures that live in the ground and they move by digging. Flying speed, air cockroaches for instance, that works basically by having their own separate speed they can draw from, but taken off and Mandan uses normal movement speed. Huh? Who's DMing? You're off font. Okay. Okay. Give me a second. So yeah, movement, okay. But yeah, taking off Mandan, half your movement speed. Oh, once you're in the air though, you can just have your own separate flying speed and all that. Actions, fun stuff. There's a lot of potential ones. You look at any D&D character sheet, you see in actions is that big ass wrist. I just will fast pull one up so like you see what I mean. Like there's a big ass wrist basically. It's like, oh, you can help, improvise, ready, sons, push, shove, basically do anything. But there's a couple main ones you'll do. Hey, Harvey, welcome in. How you doing? Yeah, hello. Welcome to a Caine Guide to D&D. So for actions in D&D, this is basically the main like idea of what you want to be doing at any given moment. You can attack, we'll see it next slide over. However, the ones that are not just straight up refinements, it disengage basically if you move away, well, you basically just move away from an enemy without getting jumped. Rogues like doing this. Dash, if you want to chase after somebody, you basically just use your action to get twice movement speed. Help, if you want to help someone like attack or do something, give them advantage. And ready, it's like an if-then clause. Yeah. There's a lot more of these, but these are the ones you usually keep in mind. Doing well, good to hear. Kinda in election mode at the moment, but yeah. So, refinements. The fun stuff, while you play D&D. Attacking the means by which you can kill someone. So, attack them in two flavors. Rolling 2 hit, this is a D20. It's not important that if you roll 2 hit, you roll the D20. And basically, if you try and match beat the enemy's armor class, this is telling multiple ways, but usually you just roll D20 and tell you if it hits. D&D, yes. I'm on a D&D campaign soon, so I'm just basically doing this. So I have like a video to send to people. But yeah. So you need to match beat the enemy's AC, depends on the DM. It's sometimes people go with match with if it meets, it beats. Oh my god, I'm playing a campaign today. Bet. We'll talk more later in a hot minute. But yeah, if so, you won't damage. You do not roll the D20 for damage. I should clarify this. This happens a lot. It's like, you roll the D20 to hit, not for damage. Okay, I just had to clarify. Roll to dodge. These are ability saves. Usually magical spells. The enemy rolls a D20 to try and match or beat your spell save DC. If they fail, you roll the damage. A very famous example is a 46 damage and 20-foot radius. Fireball. It's a dexterity save. So, look at this instance here. Kiru rolled to hit Kuze, and he beat the AC, so he ran the hit. Kuze rolled to hit Kiru. He failed to meet his AC, so it got blocked. It should also be noted, if you fail to meet the AC, that does not mean you missed. That simply means the attack was not effective. This is a common misconception. I'm just clearing up now. So, if you roll like a 13 and the AC was a 15, you did not miss. You either just hit the armor, or like it got parried. Turns out you didn't just swing your sword wildly in the completely wrong direction. But yeah, bonus actions. They're very confusedly named. But things that aren't actions, but also isn't movement, and that you can still do on your turn. This is probably the exchange I got them named. Shit. We have these cross features, man. They're like actions, but they don't like do enough to actually count as full actions? What do we call them? I don't fucking know, man. Bonus actions? Monks of me. Okay. A lot of times class features, and like these are some known examples. Barbarians Raging, Monks Eastern Flies Rose, and drinking a potion. Basically stuff that impacts how you do actions, count as like a part of an action, but not actions entirely. Yeah. And so, free actions. Don't require any time to do, but basically just very small interactions you can do. Firstly, crying is a free action, and so is speech. To an extent. You trying to say, my name is Santiago Montoya, kill my father and prepare to die, is fine. But if you give me the fucking Kira rant, I am going to take that as your action. Command. You can yell at someone to do an action, and if they feel like it, they can do it on your turn instead, but they basically just cost them their bonus action. and you can interact with objects minor ways, like climbing up steps, all of that shit. If it takes less than like a second, it counts as a free action in my mind. And a famous example is Joseph yelling, "Caesar!" Get that. Spoilers, I guess. Sorry if you found out this way. Sorry about that. Reactions. Actions that can only be taken when someone else does something. A lot of times, they're either spell or class features. However, there is one that everyone can do, an opportunity attack. This applies to both ranged weapons and melee, but like, you're usually not gonna be in a situation where the enemy leaves your range without being behind cover. So when somebody leaves your melee range, you basically just get a free attack opportunity on them unless they disengage. Basically, you just attack them when they have their back stunned. But some common actions include counter spell, it's a reaction to someone else casting a spell. Shield, reaction sometimes to attack you. However, rebuke, reaction when someone attacks you and damage is dealt. It's a Tieflin, I believe, like, feat ability. And deflect missile, a monk's reaction, basically they can catch, like, any one projectile. You cannot do reactions until someone else does something. It's similar to the ready action, as in, it's basically just like a ready action at any given time. Because it's a reaction. You react. So, character creating. Also, I'm gonna take this short intermission. It is very cool you're playing a campaign today. That is funny, actually. But yeah, character creating. It's been known I stole these slides off the internet, and I had to make like an entire fucking account just to register for this, and it pisses me off. But truthfully, this is where things get bulky. We are not going over like how to like actually create a character. This is one of the theoreticals of my character creation. It should be noted, that way it's not like, oh hey, do you wanna, oh hey, here's how to make a D&D character. You roll 4d6, you drop the lowest one for each given stat. We'll go over that later. We are going to make a sample character on we are on. But, need to begin. Ability scores. When it gets a charisma, your ability 2 score. Yeah. Fuckers have been arguing about this for a while. As long as D&D has existed, people have been arguing about what each ability score means and where it starts and ends. There's 6 of them, 3 physical and 3 mental. I'm going with like what's commonly accepted. I'm going with my own definitions, but if they're wanted, some people may disagree with these. So, like, strength, for instance, how strong you are, this is not very argued. Dexterity is how nimble you are, basically, and how good you can move your body. As opposed to strength, it's really just, like, how fast you can actually do shit. There's a difference between being strong and being flexible. Constitution's how hardy you are, if you get punched. How many punches can you take? Admittedly, it is a bit weird, this is not similar to strength, but we will get into that. I don't know why it's getting into that. We are not getting into that. So, for Constitution, you don't really think about this too much unless you want to make someone tanky, or you're playing Barbarian, or you're rolling for like a poison save. You've been poisoned, you need to make a con save. There's a lot. Okay, I'll get into saves as well on this slide, I guess. Intelligence, how studied you are, basically just how much you know book-wise. Wisdom, how good your intuition is. Some people say this is street smarts, while intelligence is book smarts. Basically, it's everything you can't learn in school. Yeah. Don't know why perception counts as wisdom. Actually, I do know. It's because you need to have like a gut sense of what is not supposed to be there to know what you're supposed to be perceiving. Well, I don't get why nature also is wisdom when it could just as easily be intelligence, because nature checks are often used. Nature checks are often used to like see what type of plant something is, which you would most likely know from a book and not from just your gut sense. Maybe it is. I may be getting this confused with medicine. Also, same deal with medicine. It gets confusing when you think about it too hard. Just don't think. Easy. Charisma. How charismatic you want. That one's pretty simple. Charisma saves, however, is often just... It also stands for, like, your sense of self. So, you make a charisma save, like, if you want to use this being teleported. You want this being teleported, charisma save. So, stuff like that, because, like, it's how, like, strong your real personality is. But, like, mostly, it is just how charismatic you want. How strong you want? Strength saves often are pretty obvious. It's stuff like, oh, this door's falling down! Quickly roll a strength save to catch it! If you fail, you get crushed by the door. Dex save is dodging something, fireball, for instance. Con save poison, int save doesn't really happen. And wisdom save is like mental attacks. It's like staving off that. Also, low intelligence does not mean stupid. It means you simply just do not know book stuff. It does not mean you are... I swear to God. You can be low intelligence, high wisdom. You wanna know what that's called? A fucking hermit. The archetype of the old man in the mountains is a low intelligence, high wisdom. He doesn't know much books, but he's wise. So stop portraying 8 intelligence characters as cavemen. Please. But yeah. So. Sorry, this is gonna be like my excuse. It's like a yell about random D&D bullshit that annoys me whenever I see. Because there's a lot of it. Like, it's a similar deal with like, I swear. There's a lot of stupid D&D stuff that happens that just annoys me. But in general, classes. Everyone has a class. This basically determines what you can and can't do. Mark, I appreciate the mark, bro. Thank you. Appreciate the mark. Have a good one. Hope you learned something. Yeah, everyone has a class, and each class has different abilities and strengths. There's no weaknesses, downsides to taking a class outside of just opportunity costs. You're never gonna be penalized for being a fighter instead of a barbarian. You're only gonna get strengths, and like the only thing you're missing out on is stuff you would have gotten from being someone else. But you're not gonna be penalized for being someone. Each class has multiple subclasses that focus specify where you want the class to specialize. For instance, if like wizards, you specialize in school of magic you want to focus on. There's no requirement when you first pick a class during character creation, but if you start multi-classing about, you do actually have some like main stat requirements to get into. I call these the main stats. The book calls them primary abilities. It doesn't really matter, but these scores basically just revolve around like what most of your class features will use. So that's why they have the requirements to begin with. So you're not like in Wizard with an intelligence of 3 and a spellcaster modifier of -2. Of -1, I mean. Microphone? What's going on? Okay. Got me scared for a sec. So, we begin with the worst one to actually begin with. You can probably guess, you know your alphabetical orders. Artificer. Kitchen gun. There's more to Artificer than just gun, by the way. So, main stats intelligence. Basically, these are just unlock. Yeah, welcome back. So, this is the Artificer. They basically create magical items, and they basically just create, like, magical, like, things. They create stuff. They do things. They make magical armor, magical, like, companions, magical items, and gun. Literally. But most of the time, Artificers are stereotyped as just having a gun. However, you can tell by someone's an Artificer if they make their own technology, have special tools they made themselves. For that reason, let's look at some famous Artificers. We got Venom Snake, the prosthetic hand. That's right, bitches. Anyone that has a prosthetic limb that he specialized in, that is an Artificer. Also Gun, but mostly the prosthetics. Iron Man, very famous, like probably the first one you thought of when I said Artificer. Victory made his own suit of armor he uses to attack people with. Also, this is, I'm saying, so like a multi-class. I don't know what subclasses he would be for Rogue, but he would probably be like an armor line for Artificer. So, Barbarian. This is a common stereotype for a Barbarian. It does not have to be you. You can be a smart Barbarian. The main stats are strength and con. It's not an anger issue, it's rage. That's what sets Barbarians apart from like fighters, for instance. They have the ability to go into a rage. Rage is more than just being angry. It is being pissed. The fuck off. You've seen red, you can barely control yourself. It's exhausting to maintain. Anyone can be angry. Only Barbarians can rage. And Barbarians featured like rage and keep going. That makes them unique. So yeah, also, bit of a tangent. Main stats of strength and constitution. Because of unarmed defense. Nowhere does it say your Barbarian has to be fucking stupid. Your Barbarian could be well read for all it matters. All that matters is they have anger issues. The Hulk is the most famous Barbarian of all. And you wanna know what he fucking is? A nuclear scientist. He studies gamma radiation as his job. He's not stupid by any means. So yeah, stop making the Barbarian stupid unless you want to, but you don't have to. So some noble class features of Barbarian is a rage. This basically grants them resistance to all physical attacks, depending on subclass, all attacks in general except for psychic. This is just a stupid image I put just because it reminded me of Barbarians. So, in general though, rage is your bread and butter. Everything ties to rage, and rage is everything you can do. It's also important to note what rage actually is. It's not just being angry, it's flying off the fucking handle. I said this a bit earlier, but there's a clear difference. That's why you can only do it for a minute at a time, because if you are capable of being fully enraged for more than a minute, something is wrong. You also need a short rest between rages, because it's just exhausting. That's the idea. You can also counterattack if you're high enough in Barbarian, which means like if someone attacks you, you can just punch back instantly. Reckless attack, you basically give yourself advantage, but you have advantage to hit. Basically, you get advantage if someone's trying to attack you. But you also have advantage if you're trying to attack someone else. You become easier to hit, but you can hit easier. And depending on how high up in Barbarian you are, you become too angry to die. Literally. As long as you are in rage and you are fighting, you just cannot die after a certain level. Hey Brain, welcome in. We are talking about D&D. We went over the basics already, so now we are talking about the classes. So, let's look at some famous barbarians. Kratos, Path of Steel-made barbarian. I saw the tweet indeed. Nice. It is rockin'. I'm becoming Twitter famous. Let's go. Alright, Path of Steel-made barbarian. Literally, his entire goal was fucking killing the gods. Barbarian fighter, strong. Kiru, barbarian monk. Hey, yo, welcome in. But yeah, he's barbarian monk. Heat armor in extreme heat mode is literally just him going into a rage. That is it. He gets more powerful in a rage in monk because he's armed. Path of Steel, he's too angry to literally die. He's trying to beat up the gods. And barbarian fighter, that's a strong from Fallout 4. I don't really need to explain, he's a super mutant. But Bond. Yeah, welcome in everybody. Main stats charisma. A performer is so good at what they do, it's magical. No, I did not say sing. I said performer. So if someone juggling swords counts as a performer. Dancing is a performance. Anything that counts as a performance check, a bard can specialize in. But yeah, welcome in, Yoha. How you doing? So, they can also do a lot more than just sing and fuck. Do not, I swear to God, stop trying to make your bard fuck anything with 2 legs. It's not funny, it's annoying. Be this dog here. Be happy. But still, some notable class features that set bard apart. They have jack of all trades, so basically everything they don't have proficiency in, they get a slight bonus to. So they're now better at anything else. Expertise, they have like 2 things they're really good at, and bardic inspiration. That's in one of NSC1. Hey Mitzi, welcome in. Damn, why is everyone here? Bardic inspiration. You have bonus to retreat any roll. It does not matter. It does not matter who is doing the roll, what the roll is about, or even if you can see it. As long as you decide that you gave them bardic inspiration beforehand, you can maybe give that bonus to that roll. But I know why Mitzi is here. I see. Also, apology for the dog if you can hear it. Probably just like a car outside or something. But yeah, some famous bards include Young Mink from Majora's Mask. She loves D&D. Nice. Yeah, D&D is pretty fun. Young Mink from Majora's Mask. He literally plays multiple magical instruments and transforms because of it. And most of his power is based off of playing instruments. He is a caller to swords because he uses swords to fight with. D&D is so fun. It is. And Majma, Bard Fighter. I think I have... Hold up, I accidentally have it set. Give me a sec, I'm gonna like switch the music. I have it set to loop on accident. I swear to God. I was like, why isn't it playing the actual playlist? There we go. Majma might be my vid. Yeah, Breaker Majma means he is a bard. Also in Pirate Yakuza, he plays multiple magical instruments that lets him summon animals to fight with. So he is a bard. You only want to piss off a demon, have him speak to dead animals, abuse them, and enemies on my parents, sorry. Oh, I did. I accounted for that already. But yeah. So, Cleric. Main stats Wisdom. Can do strong one, save your exact god. They're more than just a human. Majma's a Disney princess? Technically, yeah. Gamomi is one. He's a bard fighter though, because he also uses weapons a lot, and he has a lot of training for street fights. He's not a monk, he just has like Tavern Brawler as a feat. But yeah, Wisdom, Craig. Basically, they can be more than just heal bots, by the way. But what makes them different from Paladins, if you ask, is that they're devoted to a god, while Paladins are devoted to an oath. I'll get into this later. Do not tempt me. I'm gonna call you bluff if you try that. Oh, wait. Oh, that's gonna be fun, actually. Okay. Because there's a very specific thing that happened. Whatever, I'm getting to that. I'm getting sidetracked. But yeah, they can be more than just heal bots. But they are more than just heal bots. They're not even that good at healing. Admittedly. In fact, like, inflict wounds is 3d10 necrotic damage at level 3. It is insane. You can do anything as a crack. But some noble class features. Channel Divinity depends on your subclass, but most of it is just call your god to do something. Divine Intervention. Vitria Deus Ex Machina. If you roll high enough, you really summon your fucking god down to like help you out and talk. They also have strong ass healing spells and strong ass damage spells, but they don't get many casts. Some noble cracks include Mink from A Mink Between Worlds. He is a crack fighter. I'm going to explain the fighter part. Crack because he has the power of the Triforce, and he goes with no fucking like. He has the powers gifted him by like the gods, basically. Meanwhile, Moon Knight is the crack of the Twilight Domain because Khonshu is the god of the moon. And he protects travelers. He gets his powers from Khonshu. Druid! Yes, Moon Knight. The moon haunts you! Druid. Main stat is wisdom. I'm not aka the gateway farming class. You want roleplay as an animorph, this is the one for you. Basically, but these are protectors of nature and those who have bonded deeply with it in some aspect. They tend to embody one element or another of the natural world. I did not describe that, but like basically, if someone is like in nature all the time, or like they deal involve like nature-based elements, they're most likely a druid of some kind. I'd be confused with the actual like whatever. Not confused with rangers who use nature. I'll get into this when I get there. For some noble class features, they have mob CC spells, basically just like Field of Thorns, for instance. Restricts mobility a lot. They have mob spells that just make it a pain in the ass for the enemies to do anything. More or less. But they also have Mild Shape, where they can transform into a beast of their choosing and use whatever things they can do. Even fly and swim at some levels. But they can only use things made out of natural materials. So, no metal, nothing that like you can't find in nature. String is close enough. Most DMs aren't too stringent about this, but it is a part of being a druid. So, noble druids include Donkey Kong! He's a druid monk. What, you surprised some monkey's a druid? Because technically speaking, nothing in a monk's kit requires you to be human. Meaning, if you are a druid monk, you can wild shape into a monkey and use martial arts. Nothing is requiring you to be human. You can just do it. So you can just be a fucking Kung Fu Panda if you wanted. Fucking. Yeah. But yeah, Ben 10 druids like off the band. Wild shape into a human. Monkey Kung Fu. Yeah, pretty much. And the thing is as well, since it's martial arts that gives you your attack die, you do the same damage no matter what. So you fucking wild shape into like, if you wild shape into like a rabbit or some shit, no martial arts, you beat the shit out of whoever you want with your +3 dexterity, and then just transform back. Donkey Kong, my favorite druid monk. I discovered this oversight a while back, and I find it funny. Fighter. I mean, free win. Yeah, free win. It's also funny because no one talks about it, but it is a possibility. Fighters. The main stats are strength and dexterity. The fighters who've had intense training, either through experience or something else. So is the Monkey King a druid? Yes, druid monk, because he can wild shape. I put DK here as druid because I think he can also wild shape, and he has like shown aspects of like druidism, I believe, based on how like he's a patriarch of the Kong family. Although he has more points in monk than druid, I don't know why he's here, honestly. They're fighter. Fighters are intense training, and they basically just get their like ability to be like a hero via that training or like, experience. So basically, the barbarians without the skill issue. That's what makes them different. It's very druid coded. It is. But no, they are okay. For those saying fighters are fucking balling, they are only as balling as you make them. Because they have a lot of cool ass features to them that you can do. It's on you if you play a human fighter champion. That's not the class's fault. You're just balling. But yeah. So, some second wind. It's also a very common multi-class option. You want to get like a second class going because they have more of handy stuff like action surge. So, they're like my personal go-to if I need like multi-class into something for a bit. But yeah, so, noble class features include second wind, you get health mid-fight, and action surge. You get another action on your turn, including all your attacks. So, at level 20, you get 4 attacks in 1 action. Action surge, you can attack 8 times in 1 turn. Which is a lot. and funny. Subclasses make this class very interesting. The Battle Master makes it your fucking JRPG hero, champion. Hope you like crits, bitch. That's all you're moment. Let's see. Samurai gives you a lot of temp HP. Moon Knight allows you to enchant your weapons. There's a lot of possibilities. But some noble fighters include Ryoma from Yakuza Ishin. He carries both a gun and a sword. He's a samurai fighter because Ishin. But like, nothing is preventing you from, again, using guns and swords combined if you have the dual, like, wield and feet as well. Dual wield and fine style. Battlemaster Fighter, the hero from, like, Dragon Quest 11, any JRPG. Battlemaster allows you to basically do special actions during the middle of a fight. Yep, there's like a big-ass mist you can pick from. And they allow a lot of cool shit like parrying, defensive, baiting and switching the enemies. If you want to fucking juke the enemy, you're playing a Battlemaster. If you want to play a martial artist who has been like training for years, you pick a monk fighter Battlemaster. Because a lot of what you would think a monk can do, Battlemaster fighters actually have. Because monks can't parry. Battlemaster fighters can. Speaking of monk, I couldn't find the Raiden GIF on Google Images, so settle for Miko being up the Mikudame, okay? So, the cool one. Monk, the main stats are dexterity and wisdom. I'm a monk. Whoa! Amazing! Some noble crafts features. This shines a new light in the fighters. Yeah, my fighter is not boring. People who say that just aren't creative. You can do a lot of cool shit with fighters. Noble crafts features. Unarmed strike, punch good, deflect missiles, catch arrows, throw them back. Like that damn like martial art like movie trope. Martial arts, you can punch twice in one turn. Okay, my eyes is looking weird. I couldn't find the actual GIF. This is the closest thing I could find. I figured it's fitting because they're all VTubers. For your bros, you use up a key point. You can then punch 4 times. There's a whole bunch of other class features with key, but these are the main ones that I mostly think about that aren't just subclass exclusive. We can get into subclasses later, like questions and all that. So, some famous monks include Batman. He's a Ray of Shadow monk artificer. He makes his own equipment, so artificer, but he's a Ray of Shadow monk. Kenshiro from First the North Star, aka the Omae mo Shinderu. Nani? That guy. Ray of the Open Hand Monk. Literally, you can do that as a Ray of the Open Hand Monk. You touch somebody, and within the next 10 days, you can choose just to kill them instantly. You can also just temporarily stun them and push them back. It is busted. Ray of the Astral Self Monk. You get a fucking stand. I am not kidding. I'm not even using the hyperbole here. It is a motherfucking stand. Not like one of those... Oh, this is biased. Making monks look too cool. They are cool! What do you mean? Why do you think I am one? Fine then, you... Of course. Yeah. Maybe that's a self-monk. Literally has a fucking stand. Oh, fine then. If you want to go that way, then, Druid monk... Okay, it's not going the way. Like, Character Twilight Domain, like, they get some cool stuff. Like, the thing is... Bad life decisions. Monks also practice celibacy. Not always. Depends on like the oath they've taken up. Depends on the way they've taken up for the most part, but yeah. They also like practice willpower. That's how they get the key. So yeah, these are some famous examples, but the other monks as well. One of them wants to become the fucking Avatar, as in like the Avatar Last Airbender, and the other one wants to become Goku. We're going to fire keyboards at people. Needless to say, I find Monk very cool. That is why I am one. Bad life decisions? Only partially. But it makes life interesting, you know? So, Paladin. Mainstream strength and charisma. Unlike clerics, they follow an oath instead of a god. The oath can be based around a god, but it's not the god itself that gives them powers. It's the oath they have taken. I think of it... Okay, I'm about to fucking incite psychic damage here. So you know Homestuck? There's two types of classes in Homestuck, active and passive. I've always thought clerics is the passive class, while paladins are the active class, like variation. That's the main distinction in my mind. I'm sure I just incited a lot of psychic damage to that one statement, but here we are. What's with the music? Give me a second. Just gonna set the music back, because it is not... Okay. I swear to God. I swear to God. I swear to God. Stop fucking with the same song! Oh. There we go. So I was here. Whatever, this is good enough. So yeah. Smite some my characters an oath, and listen closely when I say this. Paladins are not lawful stupid. If you are devoted to an oath, you follow the oath, yes, but you do not. You should not go out of your way to stop party members forcefully if they are trying to do shit that violates your oath. That is how you get kicked out of the table. Listen closely, you are lawful, usually you are lawful something, but you're not lawful stupid. Follow the oath, but don't basically become, don't become a cop, basically. Nowhere in the alignment chart does it say you have to follow the law at all times. I've dealt with this type of player a lot, so this is just like an important note. So normal class feats include Smite. You deal increased damage and special effect on anyone attacked at the cost of spell slot. Man hands, you get this, it's like 5 times, yeah. Yeah, if it was just bad characterization, why am I gonna call them? I'm probably full of criminals. That, and also just, it's not fun for anyone. I don't think it's fun going around saying, but you can't steal from the shopkeep, no! Oh, I have a fucking rant on that for the Vogue. I'm getting there when I get there. But they're not, paladins are not lawful stupid. Do not treat them as such. Be a stickler for the laws you want, but do not try and stop people from doing stuff unless you talk to them first. Could Smite, man hands, like 5 times your paladin level, and then basically you just can heal. And have your armor training so they get a bunch of just like heavy armor, like increases their AC a bunch. I'm gonna get into this at the end. This general D&D creation advice. Don't try and interfere with what the other players are doing unless you talk to them out of the table first. Know what's an in-session issue and what's an out-of-session issue. And also, if you can't answer the question on why your character is still with the party, you should make a new character. If you are a chaotic evil rogue in a party of people trying to save the country, and everything you do puts them in jeopardy, you don't have a reason to stick around, then why? You should just make a new character at that point. It's not gonna work. Sound advice. Yeah, I speak from experience. Famous paladins include Captain America, literally the most famous Oath of Devotion paladin. He's not devoted to America, he's devoted to the ideals of America. So, like, that's where he stands for, and that's where he gets his power from. I couldn't think of any other paladin on top of my head, so, this Knight of a Gun. Probably a paladin. Definitely an artificer. Could also just be a full artificer, I don't actually know. So, main stats of dexterity and wisdom. Please, for the love of God, if you are making a manger, use Tasha's version of the word. It makes it a lot less situated. So, manger, as we were saying. Back to it. Okay. God, my momentum was killed. Well, my Wi-Fi doesn't die. It'd be obnoxious.